My name is Sarah. For 2 years, I worked as an esthetician at Eternal Glow Spa, a place that promised to unlock your inner radiance and defy the cruelties of time. From the outside, it was everything a high-end spa should be. Soft lighting, calming music, the faint scent of lavender, and expensive essential oils. Women and men flocked to us, desperate for youth, for perfection. For a moment of pampered escape, I genuinely wanted to help them. I believed in the power of a good facial, the confidence a clear complexion could bring. But behind the serene facade, Eternal Glow was a cesspool of shortcuts, unethical practices, and outright deception. It was a place where beauty was bought at a terrifying price, often paid not by the spa, but by the unsuspecting clients. Looking back, I wasn't just applying masks and performing treatments. I was an unwitting participant in a silent, insidious scam. Witnessing horrors that would make your skin crawl, literally. I started fresh out of beauty school, full of idealism. My initial training at Eternal Glow seemed thorough enough. Proper sanitation, client consultation, product knowledge. But the reality quickly diverged from the textbook. The first red flag was the products. We were told to use high-end, imported brands. Yet, in the back room, I often saw Mike, the owner, mixing large vats of generic, unlabeled liquids into the expensive-looking bottles. "What's that, Mike?" I asked one day, pointing at a cloudy, yellowish liquid he was pouring into a bottle labeled Youth Elixir Serum. He just winked. "Secret ingredient, Sarah? Boosts the volume. Saves us a fortune. No one can tell the difference once it's on their face." It was watered-down product, of course. Sometimes it was just water, sometimes cheap, generic lotions. The clients were paying premium prices for diluted, ineffective concoctions. Their skin might feel temporarily hydrated, but the promised glow or anti-aging effects were a mirage. It was a minor deception, but it set the tone. Then came the equipment. We had expensive-looking machines for microdermabrasion, laser treatments, and even some basic injectables, though only Mike was certified for those. The sanitation protocols were supposed to be strict: disposable needles, sterilized tools. But the pressure to cut costs was immense. I started noticing Mike re-sterilizing disposable microneedling rollers with just an alcohol wipe, instead of discarding them after each use. "These things are expensive, Sarah," he'd grumble. "One quick wipe, good as new. Nobody's looking that closely." The thought of those tiny needles, potentially carrying microscopic traces of blood or skin cells from previous clients, being rolled over someone else's face, made my stomach turn. The worst was the injectables. Mike, a self-proclaimed aesthetic expert with a weekend certification, was administering fillers and Botox-like substances. He claimed they were genuine, top-tier products. But I saw him receiving unmarked vials, sometimes in plain brown paper bags, from a shady supplier who would meet him in the alley behind the spa. These weren't medical-grade products. These were black market concoctions, cheap and potentially dangerous. One afternoon, a client, a regular named Mrs. Henderson, came in for her Fountain of Youth injection. Mike prepped the syringe. Humming, I watched as he injected the clear liquid into her laugh lines. A few hours later, Mrs. Henderson called, her voice panicked. Her face was swollen, red, and she had developed a painful rash. Mike simply told her it was a normal reaction and to apply ice. He never offered to see her again, never suggested she see a doctor. I knew it wasn't normal. I knew it was the cheap, unregulated filler. The secrets of Eternal Glow weren't just about diluted products or reused tools. They were about the blatant disregard for client safety, the willingness to risk someone's health and appearance for a few extra dollars. The beautiful facade of the spa began to feel like a thin veil over a very ugly truth. Every time a client walked out, smiling, believing they were more beautiful, I felt a chilling sense of dread, knowing the hidden dangers they might be carrying on their skin, or worse, inside their bodies. It was as if the very pursuit of beauty had become a trap, and I was helping to set it. The incident with Mrs. Henderson, her face swollen and red, haunted me. Mike dismissed it as just a reaction, but I knew. I saw the cheap, unlabeled vials. The image of those tiny needles, poised to deliver a potentially harmful substance, became a recurring nightmare. Yet, I stayed. The pay was decent, and honestly, the thought of starting over, of admitting I'd been so naive, felt overwhelming. I tried to compartmentalize, to tell myself I was just a cog in a bigger machine. But the machine kept grinding, revealing more and more horrifying gears. One day, Mike introduced a revolutionary new treatment, a fat-dissolving injection, promising to melt away stubborn pockets of fat without surgery. He showed me glossy brochures of before and after photos, all seemingly miraculous. The price was exorbitant, and as usual, the serum came in unmarked bottles, delivered by the same shady supplier. I watched him perform the first treatment. The client, a young woman desperate to lose a few inches from her thighs, winced as Mike injected the burning liquid. A few days later, she called, frantic. Not only had her fat not dissolved, but the injection sites were hard, lumpy, and incredibly painful. She had what looked like chemical burns under her skin. Mike, again, just fobbed her off, telling her it was part of the process. He even offered a discount on another session to fix it. It was sickening. We weren't making people beautiful, we were actively disfiguring them. The spa also offered hair treatments, keratin smoothing, perms, and even hair extensions. Mike often bragged about getting bulk deals on his hair chemicals. These weren't the professional-grade products I learned about in school. These were industrial-strength solutions, often diluted, sometimes even expired, bought cheaply and relabeled. I remember a young girl, maybe 16, coming in for a keratin treatment. Mike, in a hurry, didn't bother with proper ventilation. The chemical fumes were so strong they made my eyes water and my throat burn. The girl, trying to be brave, kept coughing. After the treatment, her hair looked shiny, but it also felt unnaturally stiff. A week later, her mother called, furious. The girl's hair was falling out in clumps, and her scalp was covered in painful, weeping sores. Mike just blamed it on her hair type or pre-existing conditions. The raw, undeniable evidence of hair melting, literally, from chemical overdose was ignored. The most disturbing aspect was the reuse of single-use items. Not just microneedling rollers. Cotton pads, once used to wipe a client's face, would be subtly rinsed and reused for less important steps. Disposable plastic spatulas, used to apply masks, would get a quick rinse under the tap. It wasn't about cost saving anymore. It was about a complete breakdown of hygiene. The thought of bacterial cross-contamination, of spreading skin infections from one client to another, made me want to scream. I tried to discreetly throw things away, but Mike always seemed to notice. Don't waste, Sarah, he'd snap, his eyes sharp. Every penny counts. The sparkling mirrors and soothing music now felt like a cruel joke. Behind the beautiful facade, the spa was a petri dish of infections, a chemical lab of untested substances, and a factory of shattered hopes. I started noticing clients coming back, not for more treatments, but for solutions to problems we had created. Persistent rashes, strange skin discolorations, lumps, hair loss. Mike always had an excuse, a new product to sell them to fix the previous reaction. It was a never-ending cycle of damage and deceit. My sleep became restless. I dream of swollen faces, of hair falling out, of needles glinting ominously. I'd see the clients' hopeful faces when they walked in, and then their quiet disappointment or outright panic when the beauty they paid for turned into something horrifying. My hands, once eager to bring out natural beauty, now felt dirty, tainted by the chemicals and the lies. The beautiful promise of eternal glow had become a trap, and I was slowly realizing I was as much a victim as the clients, ensnared in a web of silent betrayals. I knew I couldn't keep doing this. The price of my silence was becoming too high. The guilt became a suffocating blanket, heavy and suffocating. Every false promise, every hidden risk, every horrified client's face replayed in my mind. That eternal glow no longer felt like a place of beauty. It felt like a torture chamber for the unsuspecting, and I was a silent accomplice. I couldn't bear the thought of another client leaving our spa with more harm than good, their hopes for beauty replaced by pain and disfigurement. The secret ingredients and reused tools weren't just shortcuts, they were weapons. One morning, a new client arrived for a facial. As I prepped her skin, I noticed a familiar, almost imperceptible rash on her forehead, very similar to Mrs. Henderson's. My heart hammered. This client hadn't been here before. Yet she had the telltale sign of a bad reaction to an unknown substance. Could it be Mike was selling these treatments outside the spa too? Or was it just a terrible coincidence? Either way, the sight snapped something inside me. I couldn't be a part of this anymore. I wouldn't. After her facial, I approached Mike in his office. He was on the phone, laughing. probably closing another deal for his cheap chemicals. "Mike," I said, my voice trembling but firm, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore." He slowly put down the phone, his smile fading. His eyes, usually gleaming with greed, hardened. "Done? What are you talking about, Sarah? You've seen nothing. You've heard nothing. You're part of this operation now." "No," I insisted, my voice gaining strength. "I can't stomach it. The diluted products, the reused tools, the unregulated injections. People are getting hurt, Mike. Seriously hurt." I saw Mrs. Henderson's face. I saw that girl's hair falling out. "This isn't just about cutting corners. This is dangerous." He stood up, towering over me. His face, usually jovial, twisted into a snarl. "You think you can just walk away? You've got blood on your hands too, Sarah. You did those treatments. You saw what happened, and you kept quiet. Who do you think people will believe? A fresh-faced kid or a respected business owner?" He laughed, a chilling, humorless sound. "If you breathe a word, I'll make sure you never work in this city again. I'll ruin your reputation. I'll make sure everyone knows you were involved. And I have friends, Sarah. Friends who don't like loose ends." His words hung in the air, cold and heavy. He was right. I had been involved. My silence, my fear, had made me complicit. But staying meant becoming more like him, losing myself entirely in that swamp of lies and danger. I looked at the sleek, luxurious office, then at Mike's menacing face, and knew I had to choose. My conscience was screaming louder than his threats. "I don't care," I said, gathering what little dignity I had left. "I'm leaving." I walked out of that office, grabbed my personal belongings from my locker, and didn't even look back. The scent of lavender now made me sick. The soothing music felt like a mocking soundtrack to a horror movie. I walked past the reception, past the clients blissfully unaware, and pushed through the polished glass doors into the harsh sunlight. It's been 3 years since I left Eternal Glow Spa. I now work at a reputable, medically supervised aesthetics clinic that prioritizes safety and transparency above all else. But the scars remain. Every time I see a too good to be true beauty deal or hear about a new miracle injection, a chill runs down my spine. The faces of Mike's victims, the sight of those cheap, unlabeled vials, the feeling of those reused needles, they are etched into my memory. They are the true cost of beauty's dark underbelly, a price I know too many people are still paying. My experience in the beauty industry taught me a terrifying truth. The pursuit of perfection can be a dangerous journey when you put your trust in the wrong hands. Not all beauty is skin deep, and sometimes what's hidden beneath the surface of a glittering salon can cause irreparable harm. So, how can you protect yourself? Always research a spa or clinic thoroughly. Check for proper certifications and licenses. Ask about the products they use and their sanitation protocols, and don't be afraid to walk away if something feels off. If a price seems too low for a procedure that carries risks, or if a practitioner is evasive about their qualifications or product sourcing, trust your gut. Remember, your health and safety are far more precious than any fleeting notion of beauty. Thank you for listening to this raw confession from the dark underbelly. If Sarah's story made you look at your next beauty appointment differently, remember to like this video, share this crucial warning with everyone you know, and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another stark revelation. We'll continue to expose the hidden dangers in every profession. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and remember, true beauty should never come at the cost of your well-being.